Are you prepared to transform your well-being? I'm Sanjay Raja. My mission is to challenge our perspectives on food, fitness, and overall health. I own a successful nutrition and fitness business based in Orlando, Florida. And through this experience, I've learned that there's no one-size-fits-all solution. From creating delicious and healthy recipes, to training elite athletes, and even writing the book, The Food Talk. I've accumulated a wealth of knowledge, but here's the exciting part. There's always more to discover. That's why I'm embarking on a journey to connect with leading experts, unveiling the secrets to a happier, healthier life. Together, let's explore innovative ways to enhance our well-being. This is Recipe for Wellness. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Recipe for Wellness, our podcast show. So this is an interesting show because I grew up in a very Indian culture, being that I'm Indian, and I grew up in a very vegetarian household. And what happened was that my mom was this religion called Jainism. And Jainism is, I like to call, a more extreme form of Hinduism because of the diet, because they're not allowed to eat things that grow from plants. They can only pick things from the ground, for example. So it was tough growing up in Kansas, where everybody was eating meat, and I had to eat this vegetarian diet. I was a scrawny Indian kid growing up in Kansas with all these people around. And eventually, it led to me getting the chance to eat meat. But what happened was I hated being a vegetarian as a consequence of what happened. I did not want to eat that diet anymore. Now let's fast forward. I'm 48 now, and I've gone back to it. I've gone back to plant-based, and I eat a little bit of meat as well. So it was interesting, is on our show, we brought on a guest by the name of Shakti, very, very amazing person with her accolades and her just positive energy, and she just lights up a room. And she does a myriad of things. So I set it up, but I cannot do her title justice. So first of all, Shakti, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. How are you doing?
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, Sanjay. Love hearing your story again, man.
Thank you.
We are quite
So
opposites, with our
we were,
background. Yeah.
yeah, we were,
Mhm.
But here's what I want to do, and that is for those in the audience who don't know you, and you're going to make your debut on season 1 of our TV show Recipe for Wellness, which is
Yes.
so exciting. It's coming out in the largest market in New York City next month, February 2nd, episode 1, and it's rolling out to different markets across the country. So we'll keep everybody updated. But so that people know who you are, and I can't do it justice because you have so many amazing accolades. Can you tell us who Shakti is and what you do?
Yes. Hi, I'm Shakti Barnhill, and I go as Chef Shakti Joy now.
Hmm.
And the reason I have Chef Shakti Joy is because I wanted more joy in my life. So I added that to my name. And chef, because I've been a vegetarian, I've been cooking in kitchens since early 80s. And a little bit about my background. I was born in New York City, so that we're airing in New York City, I'm going
Mm.
home. This is my town, even though I haven't
Yes.
lived there since the 80s.
Hmm.
And I'm 66. I'm proud to be in my 66th year. A lot of people, a lot of women don't like to say how old they are, but 66 is a power year. The double
Mm.
digits are our power
Yes.
years.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm coming out, it's like, yeah, baby, I'm ready for 66. I'm ready to power it up. I started as a teenager
Hmm.
finding a yoga book,
Mm.
and I was a wayward teenager, typical teenager, just doing my life and reading this book, Yoga Made Easy, turned my
Mm.
whole life around. That, and in my junior year in high school, two friends and I said, let's take a dare. Who could stop eating meat for a month? And I studied this book, Diet for a Small Planet, and I found out how they were fattening up, you know, animals to create meat where you could feed a whole country with what they were feeding these animals. And it was like,
Mm.
I had so much compassion. And then the vegetarianism continues until now. And
Mm.
that was 1976. So I aged myself, so you know how old I am. But all these years now that I've been vegetarian has made a fantastic life for me. So the yoga and the vegetarianism are a wonderful marriage for each other because the yoga came first, and then I found the philosophy of the yoga is the vegetarianism. But I did not grow up vegetarian. I was a regular meat eater, like I was saying, the
Mhm.
opposite of Sanjay.
Mhm.
And it just it's taken my life. I've traveled 5 different continents, all over the United States, teaching yoga, teaching goodness, teaching. I'm an advocate for wealth, health, and joy.
Mhm.
And I just want everybody to be wealthy in their body. I want you to be healthy in your body. And I've learned ways to teach people how to do that through yoga. I also do massage. I do healing work with Reiki. Um,
Mhm.
it, there are a lot of accolades. Sometimes I forget how much I can do. I'm also a graphic artist, and I'm starting a new business now called Belly Belly. And this is
Mhm.
about reducing belly fat. Do you know that obesity has tripled since the 70s in America? Tripled.
Oh yeah. Oh
No,
yeah.
and obesity can lead to diabetes and heart
Mhm.
disease and cancer. And cancer and heart disease are the number 1 and number 2 killers in America. So what can we do to reduce fat in the body? Because most of
Mhm.
us, or typically, let's say we're all ADD, ADHD because of our society, which leads to fight and flight. So we're always boom, boom, the adrenals, boom, 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 hitting each other with all of this stress going into the cortisol and all of this going into the body. And this is creating this obesity in people. This is creating disease in people. And I want to do something about it. It's not
Mhm.
enough for me just to teach yoga or to do massage and healing one-on-one. It's more about reaching the general public and to get more advocates like me, because I want people to have a love affair with food now. I want you to fall in love with what you eat. I want you to taste it. I want you to lick the bowl after eating something, not just throw a hamburger down in there. I, I, I'm passionate about this, Sanjay.
Well, let
Yeah.
me dive in here. And it was
Okay.
interesting. I just got back from spending 2 weeks in India.
Yes.
And I took the kids and I traveled up to North India, which I've never been and seen the Himalayas, never seen it. And it was amazing trip all around. Kids had a fantastic time. We were scouting locations for an episode for season 2 as well.
Hmm.
And I keep telling everybody since I got back from the trip, and that is I ate more carbs than I have in probably years here, right?
Yeah.
And here's what happened. Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely
Nothing
nothing
happened.
happened.
Nothing bad happened.
Hmm.
Because I've been saying this for a long time because I've traveled the world and been to India many times, is that it's a farm to table experience over there.
Okay.
They make carbs, they make flour, they make all these ingredients to make bread and different types of carbs, and they make it fresh. And I had white bread, which I never do. I never touch it. And we've been told it's the enemy, it's the devil, right? And I had white bread sandwiches on the street. This market vendor, it was the simplest thing in the world. You would love this. It was white bread.
Hmm.
It was a slather of some butter, fresh
Hmm.
butter. Then they
Ghee,
put
ghee or
this,
butter?
just
Is
butter.
it
Yeah.
just butter? Hmm.
Yeah. Then they put a layer of this green spicy chutney made from chilies.
Hmm.
And then they put boiled potatoes, tomatoes, beets, and onions. And then what topped it, what made this thing so special, the sandwich, there was a line everywhere. We were in
Hmm.
Mumbai lining up for this thing. This guy's been there for like 50 years. And what made the sandwich was the masala that they kind of sprinkled on it. It's a garam masala. And it just set that sandwich off to a whole new level. It's the simplest thing in the world, but it was so good. It was amazing. and it was
I have
all
to try that,
plant-based.
but
Yes.
without white bread.
Well, here's the thing. I would implore you to try it with the original because I ate like two or three of these things. It was crazy,
Yes.
and they were small, but they're really good. And I'm really in tune with my body, being that I was an athlete, and I still train people from time to time. And my whole life is about being healthy. And I was waiting for it, meaning I was waiting for some ill effects. I was waiting for some lethargy. I was waiting for something to happen, and nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
Yeah,
And
I was eating carbs all the entire trip because most of the trip we weren't eating meat, as most of vegetarian, and we were just
mhm,
fine. And we were eating breads and just different types of carbs, rice all the time, and it was amazing. The kids and I felt fantastic. We didn't feel sluggish. We felt
yeah,
good.
yes,
But it comes down to this thing of the farm to table experience and
yes.
going back to our roots. And this is kind of where it leads to our episode we did together on the show, which is you are, so correct me if I'm wrong. You
Okay.
would say you are a vegan. Is that correct?
I am a vegan. Yes.
Okay. All right. So you made me a vegan meal on one of our episodes, which I can't wait
Yes.
for the world to see. It was the simplest thing in the world I saw. Okay. It was beets, it was sweet potatoes, it was cucumbers, all nicely, displayed on a plate. And it took us maybe 20, 30 minutes. We had an awesome conversation while doing it. And we sat down and ate. And I'm looking at this thing, and I'm just being honest. I said,
Mhm.
okay, this is pretty simple. We tried it, and it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
It was simple ingredients, prepared in the simplest manner, didn't take much time. And the crew started diving in because they couldn't just watch us eat. We had to give something to the crew, obviously. They loved it. And so I'm here to tell people that vegetarianism and veganism, I've had a crash course education in revisiting these two types of diets in my life. We
Yes.
met a fellow season one guest on the show who's based out of New York, Dr. Nadia Santana. She introduced me to veganism out there, and then I had my episode with you. And what I realized is that I went back to my cooking. I do a lot of vegan cooking. I didn't even know it. I didn't even know it.
Do you
Right?
know
And,
what I call this, Sanjay? This is what I
mm,
call plant powered because we're putting
yes.
more of the plants in there and we can eat anything,
Hmm.
but in moderation. Instead of having a big
Yes.
steak, if you have a big salad, you fill the body up and it doesn't need all of that steak in there. Just a little piece of steak if you eat steak, you know.
Yes.
I'm a vegetarian, I'm a vegan, but I am not an advocate for it. I'm an advocate for health and moderation more than anything else.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I did a speech yesterday. I was in Westchester, Connecticut. Super cold. It was like 1 degree out there.
Oh,
And yeah, and I was giving a speech and I talked about moderation and I talked
hmm
about my diet. They were really curious about my diet. And I said, I've shifted. I would say when I first started, when I was an athlete, I was more 70-30 meat to plant-based.
okay.
Then as I gotten older, I've gone the other way. I'm 70% more plant-based and
Yes.
30% meat when I
Yes.
need it. It's not
Yes.
required, but if it's there, I'll do it. And every now and then it's just there to change things up.
Yes.
So speaking from your vast experience in this field, outside of the scientific, which is, plant-based diets are very anti-inflammatory. I feel
Yes.
better. There's less arthritis. There's less inflammation in my joints.
hmm
You've worked with so many clients, and I'm sure you educated them on veganism, vegetarianism, simple recipes. What's been the number one feedback you've gotten from clients when you introduce this lifestyle to them? They adopt it, and then they come back and give you some feedback. What's the feedback been so far?
They just feel better about themselves and better in their body. They have
Hmm.
more energy, more vitality. They seem like they're moving. The joints move a little bit better. I've
Yeah.
had one client, she decreased her medications, diabetic,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
she was on statins as well. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, people are changing, but the number one thing is that they feel better. The
Hmm.
brain is not as foggy, you know?
Yeah.
The,
Yeah.
the body is not creaking as much.
Well, I tell you, it's a shift because you see the advent of all these popular diets out there, right?
Yeah.
You saw the carnivore diet, which is all meat and fat.
Yeah.
I could never do that. I could never do
Yes.
that.
Keto.
Then you
Same
see
with
the
keto.
keto, yeah,
Hmm.
keto diet where you can eat as much meat and cheese as you want.
Yeah.
So I look at all these diets and I always tell people, don't follow the crowd, do your own research and go with what feels good to you, right?
Hmm.
And your body will never lie to you. It'll always tell you the truth. Now, whether or
Yes.
not you choose to listen to it, that's another story. But
Hmm.
if you listen with intention, without bias, your body will never lie to you. So, can you tell us, like, when you're working with clients and you're kind of educating them on how to become vegetarian, vegan, you know, veganism gets a bad rap. It just
Yes.
does, right?
Yes.
I've had bad
One thing,
experiences with it.
one thing about veganism, pure veganism, they don't do honey because they don't want to harm the bees. They don't do
Mm.
figs, because they
Hmm.
don't want to harm the wasp. And it's a
Hmm.
bit extreme. And
Yes.
I prefer, and if someone asks me how I eat healthy more than anything
Okay.
else.
I like that. I
I
like that.
prefer to say plant powered. I'm moving
Okay.
a little bit from plant based because plant-based can incorporate everything in there. But more plant
Yes.
power, you're going for food that's raw,
Yeah.
that has a vibration, that still has a vibration in it,
Hmm.
and it's not overcooked.
Hmm.
If your food gets to a, what is it? They keep moving the numbers. It's like 113 degrees. It's no longer raw. But if you can
Mm.
get something, get those enzymes in the body that's going to help you to digest and help you to get the nutrients into you. This is what we want. We want the vitality of food.
So, so that's the big question, and that is,
Mhm.
with one of my companies, we do a lot of we do customized menus based upon their medical conditions. If they're an athlete, if they got diabetes. So I'm always a big advocate of health through nutrition versus medication, right?
Yes.
Um, but the biggest question we get, and you can help us, this would help the audience, would be, how do you make vegetables sexy again? How do you do it?
First, you got to be sexy yourself.
Right, right. But how
and
do you
and
take simple
and
vegetables and not cook them as much as, like you're saying, and
mhm.
make them appetizing to look at, to eat, without feeling like you're a rabbit chewing on some grass?
First thing, the first thing, if you're not growing it yourself, when you're shopping, buy what looks best and buy
Hmm.
with the attitude that this is going into my body to create more of my body.
Okay.
What kind of body? Am I going to buy the wilted lettuce, to think that, oh, this is going to wilt my body? Or am I going to buy that fresh, vibrant one that's going to bring that vibration of that into my body? And,
Hmm.
and that's where you start with that. And also, when I grew up, my pop would cook greens, collard greens or mustard greens in a
Hmm.
pot with lots of water and cook it and put some pork in there and cook it, cook it, cook it, cook it, cook it.
Hmm.
I learned what he was doing because he would drink the pot liquor.
Oh
So
yeah,
all of the
yeah.
nutrients went into to the liquid.
Yes, yes,
And then the vegetable would just be the roughage, right? The
yes,
fiber. But
yes.
to get the vibration of the vegetable, which we really need more than the liquid from it, is don't overcook it. All right. So when you're making a salad, also think about being an artist. Think about colors and think about having a
Mm.
rainbow of
Yep.
colors in everything you eat. And think about flair. It's when I say having a love affair with food, it's like have a relationship with what is going to go in your body. Taste it.
Yep.
When I learned vegetarian cooking, I learned in the ashram. And this older Swami was teaching me, and many Indian people. And the vegetarianism then was don't taste the food because it has to be offered. It has to be prayed
Mm.
over before you eat it. But if you're cooking for yourself and your family, taste it add a little bit of this, add a little bit of this. Have an array of spices, fresh spices or dried spices. Have an array of different things that you can try. In my book, Off the Wall, Plant Powered Kitchen Magic, I have a list of the different things that you can buy, different condiments, different things that the typical, it's not in the typical diet. Okay. So
Hmm.
expand, what you have in your body. There's thousands of things that we can buy out there, but most people have that typical meals that they serve and eat, or
Yeah.
they'll go to the restaurant. Go to the restaurant and you get your variety. Why not get it at home? Why not be in the kitchen creating your
Well,
vitality?
yeah. So this is an interesting point because, I'm part of the show is we cook on camera, part of the
Yes.
show. And
Yeah.
so for season two, the network said we need to see more of that, which I'm happy to do. So one
Excellent.
of the things I do at home is test out new recipes and
Mhm.
see what works with the kids and myself and what looks good. And when I was in India, though, it's amazing. They take the simplest, most humblest ingredients and they infuse it with so much flavor
Yes.
because of the spice mixtures. And if you look at an Indian recipe, most of the
Hmm.
time you'll see a couple of base items, potatoes, peas, carrots, and then you'll see 30 different spices. That's what
Yes.
it is, right?
Yes.
And I think that's where people, including myself, found it really daunting, which is, oh my God, how am I going to do this? Right. But what I did was I was really craving a favorite of mine, which is called Pani Puri. And
Okay.
basically, we take these puris, which are like fried dough,
Mhm.
and then we fill it with potatoes. We fill it with some spices, and then we make this water that's infused with mint and all these masalas, and then we pour it in there. And then on top of that, we put this chutney made from tamarind, so it's
Mhm.
had this sweet and
It-
sour taste. And it's the simplest thing in the world. I grew up with it as a kid. Here, restaurants, Indian restaurants, will charge you an arm and a leg for it because nobody makes it. But I said to the kids, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make this. And they're like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, we're doing this now.
Mhm.
It took me an hour to make the water because the water has over 30 different spices in it, right?
Wow.
Yes. And so I was just testing and testing and testing. But
Yes.
then when I did it, I said, this is not that bad. It did not take that long. It's
Mhm.
always anything you do the first time is always the hardest, right? But I mixed East and West. I will admit it. What happened was I made Bonnie Puri, then I also made a tomahawk steak for them. I did the same. I did both at the same time, which is something that an Indian person never does. I told my cousins about this, and they were shocked I did it. But I said, listen, the kids loved it. I liked it. I like to mix things up. But what I learned from you and the audience can learn from this is that you took the simplest ingredients. I mean, it was a humble meal by any stretch of the imagination. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, a lot of spices, a little bit of oil here and there. So a touch of almond you put on the sweet potatoes, which I've integrated into my own cooking, which was fantastic. And it just turned it to a whole new level. It just turned up the flavor. And share with our audience is like, what are some of the simplest things to keep in our kitchen cupboard as far as spices go that you have in yours that's kind of your go-to?
Yes. Oregano, basil, curry, ginger,
Mm-hmm.
cardamom, um, nutmeg, cinnamon, cayenne, oh, dill,
Mm-hmm.
thyme. I can get fresh or I grow fresh. I just moved, so I don't have a garden now, but
Sure.
I was growing
Sure.
a lot of basil.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, just basic, and there's an array of spices, but
Mm-hmm.
vanilla. Sometimes
Oh
vanilla
yeah.
can just spice
Yeah.
up. One thing I've been spicing things up with is cacao butter, and
That's a new one.
it brings a chocolate flavor into it. It's you're
So that's
frying
that
up.
that cocoa butter that you use in chocolate, right?
Yes,
Oh,
cacao
okay.
butter.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
wow.
So if you
Okay.
want a little chocolate in your, whatever your pasta, and you want it to taste a little bit like chocolate, you put a little cacao butter when you're sauteing things in there,
That's
and it
new.
makes
I
a
like that.
really nice difference. Yeah, been using that, or throw some nibs, cacao nibs in something.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like concentrated like chocolate without being processed, right?
Yes, this is where all chocolate comes from the cacao beans, and it's actually a
Mm-hmm.
big pod like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's interesting because when you have the raw pod, they do have it here at the farmer's market. You open it up, and it's um, like you're it's hard to describe, but you're opening it up and it's like an embryo. So you
Mm,
have the
yeah,
seeds and they're all wrapped in the liquid and all of the nutrients is right there. And then the
yeah,
seeds are soft. So, but when you get them in the store, they're hard, they're dried, some of
yeah,
them are fermented as well. But this is where all chocolate comes from the cacao bean,
right,
and we have
right.
overlooked that. We think Hershey's made chocolate, but oops, it's Hershey. But it's cacao. Bring more of that
Mm,
into your life. I learned this from David Wolfe about 20 years ago, and he's like one of the persons that brought cacao into the mainstream. He's a
mm,
raw foodist, and he's just an amazing teacher.
yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this, and that is, we could go off on food all day. You know
Yes.
me, and I love what you do, but I want the audience to really get a full understanding of what it is that you're doing to help people in so many different ways. Because when we met you,
Yes.
we without giving away the episode because you're gonna have to watch it yourself. But you were doing some energy work. Uh,
Yeah.
on the episode, which I know you do. So talk to us about what is that energy work you do, and how does it help people, navigate life?
Yes. Well, I'm gifted, first of all. I've been
Hmm.
gifted with intuitive nature. So I can go in and read people's bodies. I could read the organs, the glands, the systems, and just read the energy of them. I believe that we have three different bodies, or at least three bodies: the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body. And I go in and read these. And I'm teaching
Hmm.
people how to be more in tune with what's going on in your body, how to read your own body, and we all have this intuitive nature, but what are we doing about it? Are we listening to it? For me, the first time it came up, I'm driving the car and I hear go this way and don't go this way. I went this way, I almost had an accident. So I've
Mm,
learned to listen to the small voice inside of me. So I like to teach people to listen to it. Listen to what's saying to you, small sentences, whispers. Listen, listen, listen. That's the first thing. So listen if your body says, oh, I have a pain here in my right hip. I say to them, this is the part of your body that's needing more attention, more love.
hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
Can you rub it? Can you massage it? Can you pound on it a little bit and just bring more circulation into that area of the body? So basically, I want to teach people it's all within your hands. Your diet is within your hands. Your breathing is within your hands. How you think is within your hands. What you do with your life is in your hands. Can we bring this all together to make this vibrant self? I'm vibrant because I do yoga. I do
Mm,
acupuncture, I do chiropractic. I go to the gym and I work out. I put the best foods that I can get into my body. I do deep breathing. I do meditation. And I want to bring all of that to people. You can do all of this on your own. It's good to have a trainer, but can you train
yeah.
yourself at home when your trainer's not there? Can you
Oh
take the
yeah.
knowledge that the trainer gave you and put it into a 5-minute program that you can do every day and then go see him, an hour a week or whatever they do? Can you do this for yourself? So
Hmm.
taking the control back into your day-to-day life is basically the
So
mission.
so when you see clients, for example, and you've changed many lives for the better, and that's why we definitely wanted you on the show, and you did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Um, what do they come in with when they see you? Like, what's the issue that's going on, and then how do you help them navigate that?
You want one example.
One example. I'm sure you hear so many, but one example.
um, okay, a young woman came in to me and she's having concerns with her mind, okay? And she wants to slow herself down so that she is able to not be on what is it, depressive drugs.
Hmm.
Okay. So
Yeah.
we looked at the root cause of what's going on. You know, she's had some trauma in her life, and we all have some trauma in our life. So we looked at the root cause, that the trauma has caused the emotions to do this, has caused the eating to do this, has caused the eating has caused the overweightness to do this. The eating has caused the depression to come in because she's eating a lot of carbs. She's eating a lot of sugar. She's eating
Hmm.
a lot of fast food, a lot of processed food. So, so we break it down. Okay, let's look at other means of putting food into your body. We got to the point that she fell in love with broccoli.
That's good. That's
She
good.
started sending me these recipes that she was making for herself, you know, and it just it opened up another window inside of her that yes, I'm still on these antidepressant drugs. I forgot the word, but I have control over my life. I
Mm,
can do this. I can shift my diet. I can think about, okay, and I do coaching as well. So
yeah.
we talked about, you know, the traumas, and we did some body work for the traumas, and we changed the diet. So we put this whole package together to shift what was going on in her life. And she's doing successfully with it.
So this is a good transition then, and that
Mhm.
is there's a lot I'm sure like okay, so let me reframe the question. So if traditional medicine, I've been on that side of the fence,
Mhm.
right? Has a lot of good answers, but sometimes it's not the answer,
Yes.
right? And what we're seeing a shift now is people are looking outside of traditional medicine,
Yes.
uh, but stuff that is grounded still in science, but just a different methodology of doing it.
Mhm.
And I think that was part of the impetus for the show, which is to give a voice to people like you who are changing so many lives who didn't have a voice, but now can have a real platform to kind of say, hey, there's a better way to do things, there's a different way to do things, and be open to new ideas.
Yes.
So, all that being said, when somebody is feeling anxiety, depression, because that's a very common thing,
Yes.
and they don't want
Breath
to take
work.
medication.
Breath
Yes.
work.
Yeah. So
Yes.
they don't want to take medication. They don't want to go the traditional route.
Mhm.
And how do they find you? How do they say, I'm going to go this route? And how does somebody find you?
Mostly word of mouth. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. I don't do much advertising. I've been down here in Southwest Florida for 30 years, and I've
Okay.
based myself here because, and I'll get people who call me from other places, but I based myself here. I do classes here in Southwest
Hmm.
Florida. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. So you think about, we want to think about the scope of the work you do, which is you work with people who are going through anxiety, going through depression, going through trauma, going through all these different things. And you work with so many different clients. On average, I'm sure everybody's different, but
Mm.
what does it usually take in terms of sessions for them to really get a handle on the issue and the problem? I'm sure everybody's different,
Everybody,
but
Sanjay, everyone's different, but from the
mhm.
first session, you can walk out with something that you can use if you are dedicated to yourself and to
Mm,
your healing and to your changing, you know, how you feel right now to changing. Because I'll sit down and let's just breathe for a moment,
yeah,
okay? Before you get
yeah,
into anything else, let's just learn how to breathe. A lot of people don't know how to diaphragmatically breathe, you know, where you're
mm,
pushing your stomach out when you inhale and you're exhaling and
yep,
stomach goes in. And if you're doing it opposite, it creates anxiety.
yeah.
So just to get someone to breathe and to stop, you know, that's key. And that's one of the major things. If you can just keep breathing slowly, add the breath into it. And then there's other types of breath. I love Wim Hof breath, you
Oh yeah,
know,
yeah,
or fire
yeah,
breath,
yeah.
you know.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you this story, and that is we were in the Himalayas, and
Mhm.
we hired a tour guide to kind of take us up there. And so there's a lot of displaced Tibetan monks because China has overtaken a large part of Tibet. So a
Yes,
lot of monks have fled to North India, who's
yes.
been given safe harbor. So there's a lot of Tibetan monasteries. And one of my bucket list items in my life was to be able to go to a Tibetan monastery and chant with the monks for like 2.5 minutes at least. and we got the opportunity to do it, and
Yes.
it was amazing. So we're in there, they're chanting. It's this deep vibrational like breath work they're doing. It's so deep, and it just like
Mhm.
resonates through your body. And I'm doing this with them for about 2.5 minutes. We couldn't put any cameras or anything in there, but
Right.
I walked away feeling very different.
Yes. This is
Very different. I
exactly
felt
what I'm saying.
mentally, I felt just clear in a lot of ways. Physically, I felt really, really good. I couldn't pinpoint what it was,
Mhm.
but it's just that deep vibrational energy that just kind of went through me, and I was able to accept it. And it was nothing like I've ever experienced before.
Oh, that's wonderful. And
Yeah.
this is it. If we can shift our vibration with our breath,
Hmm.
with
Yeah.
our mindset, okay, and with our movement, and with our food, we can shift all of these things in a day. You
Yeah.
did it in 2.5 minutes.
Yeah. I know, right?
With those deep, how do you go?
Yes. Oh yeah. It was deep. I
Those
mean, it
chants are
was
woo. Yeah.
I mean, it was such like a deep bass that I
Yeah.
mean, you almost felt like it shook the building. That's how deep they go.
Yeah, because well, from a yoga point of view, it shakes the chakras and all the energy systems.
Hmm.
They just have to go back into alignment after hearing something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just moves
So,
it.
so I've been doing a lot of breath work as well when I
Excellent.
train athletes and I work with clients. And you
Yes.
know, one of the most interesting things I find is we've trained so many people since 2011. And
Hmm.
here's the funny part: the number one thing I have to tell people is you're not breathing. They forget to breathe.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're working out,
Hmm.
and it's you would think it's the most common thing in the world, but no, everybody holds their breath,
Yes.
and you hold in all this tension, and it just gasses you out, and you're not able to be at your highest self. And then part of what we do is just reminding people, hey, just don't forget to breathe.
Don't forget to breathe. What a beautiful message of the world. You know, not forget to breathe because we're all like in this ADHD, ADD because we're doing
Mhm.
all these things. We're multitasking. And it's wonderful to multitask, but if you have your energy centered on how you're multitasking things, it makes a big difference instead of having this one there, this one there, this one there. But you're
Yeah.
centered, and your breath is one of the beautiful things that can center anything.
Well, it's amazing. It's like the science behind that is what you find is that when you flood the brain with oxygen,
Yes.
which is those deep breaths, right? What they found was anywhere from 32 to 38 really deep breaths you're talking about. What happens is you will actually change your mood within that time period. You will change your mood. You could feel super depressed and you
Hmm.
could just shift into a real positive mentality. And then your vibration changes, which means you're attracting more positive things. And then your day just shifts completely,
Yes.
right? Yeah. So
In one
I've done it.
session, right? I mean, how
Yeah,
long does
in
it
one
take to
session.
take 30 breaths? A couple of
You
minutes.
you would think that'd be the easiest thing in the world to go, I'm just going to take this time to go do this
Yes.
thing. But
Hmm.
I've seen so many clients, and I'm guilty of it myself, where I go, I just don't have the time right now. I'm
Yeah.
guilty of it myself, right?
You know, one thing I like to tell people, go to the bathroom.
Yeah,
Just
it's true.
because most people don't disturb you in the bathroom,
True.
they give you
Very
the
true.
time. You're in the stall, you do what you do, breathe, stand there and take a few more breaths, or sit in your car. Another thing is for anxiety, I love to say is you're in your car, you're driving alone. Will you scream, please? Will you get some of that
Yes.
out there? Will you just
Yes.
move the energy? There's so
Yep.
many little things that we can do. It's just wonderful.
I talk to myself in the car
Mhm.
constantly, right?
Or
And
sing.
yeah, it's an
Yeah.
ongoing dialogue with me in the car, just talking about, just checking in with myself, honestly, which is what's going on and just being honest with myself about something that may be bothering me, how I need to move forward with it. But the more and more I thought it was crazy, it's not being crazy. It was about I talked to a lot of people about this and they said, yeah, that's a very common thing. And it's
Yeah.
actually a very healthy thing to do is to
Yes.
check in with yourself. And the first thing I do is whenever I'm feeling anxious or out of alignment, I take that 30 seconds to breathe and just relax. Because they say, problems feel like they're a mile wide, but they're
Yes.
only an inch deep.
Yes. But they're
Meaning,
really not an inch deep. They're just a thought deep sometimes.
yeah. And so we
Yeah.
just step in it. We think we're gonna be sucked in by this thing. And
Hmm.
then it's just like, you know what? I'm gonna survive this. I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Right?
One of my tricks is I'll put one of my earbuds in, taking a
Mhm.
walk, so I don't look like I'm crazy just talking out loud to myself. I'll just have
Yeah.
this conversation.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes
Yeah.
sense. Sometimes I'm
Um,
self-conscious if I'm, in public and I just want to have that conversation. It's a good way.
yeah,
It's another
no, I
trick,
think
you know.
it's I
We need
I think
these
it's a fan.
hacks. We need these hacks,
Yes.
personal
The
hacks, you
other
know.
the
Yeah.
other one I learned was from the Japanese, and they call it forest bathing, meaning
Mm.
get out in nature, get out
Yes,
there,
definitely.
right? Just there's a scientific principle and foundation of being out in nature calms your mood down.
Yes.
So we've integrated, like, after dinner, the kids and I will just go take a nature walk every day
Hmm.
after dinner, just
Hmm.
talk about the day, relax, calm down.
Nice.
And so there's all these little things we can do that are free. That's what I
Yes.
love. It's
Uh-huh.
completely free.
Yes.
Breath in your lungs, in and out, completely free.
Yes.
And what's amazing to me, and this is what happened, was before we got to the Himalayas, we had to pass through about three different cities to get up there.
Hmm.
And the main city we were in, we landed, and I completely forgot about this part about India, which is unfortunate. I thought I saw fog everywhere in the middle of the day.
Oh,
He goes,
wasn't
"That's not
fun.
fog.
No.
That's complete and utter air pollution."
Yes.
It was bad. I mean, it was really, really bad. I mean, to the point of, like, we could maybe see 200 feet in front of us. That's how bad it got. And as we went up in the mountains, the air became clear and better and fresher. And so we take breath for granted. There, people on the ground, they don't get a clean breath of air. They don't get it. This is something we take for granted here,
Mhm.
which is we can take a deep breath in our lungs and have pure air and then just feel good. There, they're breathing in toxins and particles and such. And so I think it humbled me again. And it humbled me to the point of, I need to stop taking this thing for granted, these set of lungs, this clean
Oh,
air,
yes.
and just take advantage of it. And I think we forget about that in our society today because we're so connected digitally, but we may be connected digitally, but we're farther apart than ever,
Unfortunately, yeah. And the other thing with
right?
grounding outside with your bare feet, so
Mm,
you can tune into some of the earth energy and that will shift our vibration and our energy quickly just by standing
yes.
there. Yeah,
You
especially in
know,
the grass. Hmm.
yes, and growing up Indian, we walked around barefoot all day. We walk
Hmm.
around barefoot in the house all day, but I never really kind of took it outside, which is something I'm trying to do more of now,
Hmm.
which is good with the grounding techniques. And it's amazing, like, from yourself and the other guests, I've learned all these little hacks that are completely free that you could do every day, and they make a huge difference. They really
Yes, they
do,
do. Yes, they do. Another
right?
thing I love to do is to get people in front of the mirror and have them
Mm.
look into their eyes. And with our new program, we have them look into the belly because it's all about the belly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we
Okay.
want to use the mirror for not just grooming ourselves, but for checking out, and to send some love into yourselves. Look into your eyes. They call them the
Mm.
windows of the soul. Are we really
Yeah.
looking into our eyes or really checking out who we are? Or
Yeah.
are we thinking that we're something else? But if we sit still in front of a mirror or stand still in front of a mirror and just breathe for a moment and take yourself
Yes.
in. Yeah, it
Yes.
makes all the difference, Sanjay. Yeah, another
Well,
great hack.
the No, that this is something I did, especially, during the lockdown during COVID,
Yeah.
was there was no distractions
Mhm.
and couldn't go to work, you had to stay home. And
Mhm.
so what I found was that a lot of people had a hard time looking themselves in the mirror and
Yes.
checking in because we're so distracted, we don't have to deal with all the internal stuff that's going on.
Yes.
Um, this I saw two types of people, and that I was the people who flourish was, I'm going to work on me. This is my time
Yes.
to work on me.
Yes.
And the other type of people who didn't flourish was I'm going to not do that, and I'm going to be dealing with all this baggage I'm piling up in my mind, in my body, in my heart, and just not deal with it.
Yeah.
So, we have enough distractions throughout the day, but I think that's such a great point, which is, when you're in the mirror brushing your teeth, check in, Take a look at
Yeah.
yourself, see what's going on.
Say hi.
Yeah, say, you know what, though, I heard a line. I heard a line which I love, which was this guy was talking on social media, and he said, "I like me. I'd buy myself a beer. I would do it." Right?
I buy myself a carrot.
There you go. There you go. Whatever your flavor is, but loving yourself first is
Mhm.
is our first job, and
Yeah.
then we can love everybody else around us, right?
Right. And self-care. We put a lot of care out there.
Mhm.
We also have
Yeah.
to balance it with bringing the care in as well as play, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so
Taking the time.
important. Hmm.
Yeah. So you and I could talk for hours,
Thank you.
as we did on the show. It was fantastic. So, reminder, everybody,
Yes.
we are going to be airing nationwide
Yes.
starting next month. We're going to be hitting the New York market, the largest PBS station in New York. It's going to be
New
on
York.
10:30 a.m. starting February 2nd. And they're going to do their 6-week run with our season one while we're developing season two, but it's moving from east to west, which is fantastic.
Yes.
And we'll post clips and make sure everybody knows about it and come to the website to check out where it's airing near you. Now, that being
Yes.
said, I want to make sure that everybody can connect with you and
Thank
know
you.
about you because you're a rising star and you're about to make your big breakthrough very soon.
Thank you.
And I can't wait for the world to see your message and how you help people. So tell us how we can connect with you. Is there a website we can go to?
Yes. Chef Shakti Joy. If you just Google Chef
Mhm.
Shakti Joy, I'm the only one.
That's
But
true.
it's
That's true.
chefshaktijoy.com. Okay.
Excellent.
Yes, the
Excellent. And then
new business is going is
please.
bellybelly.net.
Hmm. Very
Okay.
nice.
This is look
Very
for
nice.
that logo there. All right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. And
Okay.
you had some books that do you have a book out? Yes?
Yes, yes. Actually, I'm writing 4 books right now,
There
but
you
I
go.
have 2 books that I've published, and this is The Sacred Art of Off Mat Yoga. That was
Mm,
the first one that I did during the pandemic. This is what I did with my pandemic energy.
yeah.
And the book I wrote last year was Off the Wall, Plant Powered Kitchen Magic. It also comes from all the recipes. I had recipes putting on the wall during the pandemic, and I said, "You're going to write a book with this." So I put it into a book. And this
Oh,
is my
wow.
brain book. And I have a series of books coming out with the off mats, with the off the wall. It's just that I'm off. I like being off because it brings me on. It
That's
gives
good.
me power, it gives me that vibration just to be whoever I want to be. And I'm
Yeah,
perfect in my imperfection.
100%. That's the best thing I've heard all day today, honestly. Yeah. No, I think everybody needs to stop being so harsh with themselves.
Yes.
And because, there's plenty of people in society who are going to judge us, and the last person that needs to judge us is ourselves, right?
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah. So this has been fantastic. I am
Thank
so
you so much.
excited for everybody, especially you. Just everybody's going to get to know you and who you are and the amazing work you do for the better. And we are also going to go live on our own streaming channel next month as well. So you can
Lovely.
catch Chef Shakti on the streaming channel as well. And without giving too much away, we are actually in talks to be on other bigger platforms as well in the background. So we're making those inroads. So we're not just going to be on PBS. We're going to be on many different platforms, and I can't wait. And the good
This
news
is
was when I was
wonderful.
in India, I'll share.
Mhm.
When I was in India, people knew about us, which is great. When we got there, yeah,
Already,
they
yes.
already knew about us. Yeah, we haven't even aired an episode yet, which is a good sign for us.
You're doing a
But
wonderful job, Sandra. I just really appreciate being a part of this. Thank you so much for inviting me to just share who Shakti is with the world.
I this has been a personal journey for me. It's been eye-opening on so many levels, and I've learned from every single one of our season one or upcoming season two guests. Everything you guys do is important. I think, especially now, we just need more positivity, light, and energy, and just common bonds. And yes,
You
yes,
got it, brother.
yeah. And I keep learning every time you and I interact. So I'm so grateful to have gotten to know
Ditto.
you.
Yes.
But everybody, check out this podcast episode and then check out the show. And Chef Shakti Joy, have a fantastic day. Thank you for joining us.
You are
And
quite welcome. Thank you for
and we
inviting
will
me.
Absolutely. We're going to see you again very soon, I'm sure. So,
Namaste. Much love, brother.
namaste. So, tune in for the next episode of Recipe for Wellness, and we will see you guys soon.